thank you for coming here today and showing the strength of support for Labour in Reading and across the Thames Valley.
Thank you! Thank you all for being here, and thank you for your support for Matt. This man is going to be your MP Friday week, okay? But that means you've got to put a bit of effort into making sure he does become your MP. Are you all up for that? So it is campaigning, it is talking, it is getting that message across. But I would also like to say a message of sympathy and sorrow to Reading on not getting through in the football. As a very keen football supporter, I know just how painful these things are. But I had a good weekend. I was at the cup final with Arsenal. Yeah, I wasn't expecting any applause for that at all. And, please don't go any further with that particular line of discussion. This morning we were pointing out just what 5 more years of a Tory government will do. That's the absolutely correct response. Thank you. John Ashworth and Angela Rayner and I presented a document to our friends in the media about just what another 5 years will mean. Think through the crisis that exists in almost every hospital in the country at the present time. Think through the waiting lists to get elective surgery. Think through the delays in A&E departments. Think through those older people stuck in a hospital bed and they can't leave because the social care is not available. Think of those 1 million people all across the country waiting for the social care package that hasn't yet come. Then think on our schools. Is it right that head teachers should be encouraged to have collecting buckets at the school gate in order to fund the schools? No! Is it right that so many of our children come to school hungry and go home hungry as well? No! And is it right that so many of our children are now in classes well over 30, what we now term supersized classes, and the teachers deeply stressed out by this, and many sadly leaving the profession as a result of it? Then look further on in education, the underfunding of our secondary schools, the loss of educational maintenance allowance, meaning those students from working class backgrounds did not go on to college until we introduced them. And then think of the university students leaving with debts of £50,000 and more because they tried to get an education. What we're doing is simply pointing out what another 5 years of a Tory government would mean. 5 years of underfunding, 5 years of cuts, 5 years of lost opportunities. And the stress that causes to so many families and young people. And so we're quite simply saying this: we have a programme and a manifesto for the many, not the few. It is a realistic programme, and it is a fully costed programme. And it will cost, yes, more in taxation at the top end. Corporation tax will go up a bit, and all those tax reliefs and giveaways to the very rich will change. And we're doing this because we believe it's time for a change in this country. We cannot go on with the narrative that the next generation is always going to be worse off than this generation. You'll have less healthcare, you'll have less housing, you'll have less in education, you'll pay for more and more and more as you go through life. I just don't accept that is correct. We are a wealthy country. We live in a highly technical age. We live in an age when almost anything is possible if you get the politics right to distribute the wealth and the opportunity fairly across all elements of society. So, Angela very proudly put forward her views and our plan on education. And I have to say I'm very proud of Angela Rayner. She had a difficult upbringing. She didn't achieve everything she wanted to or could have done at school. And as she says, she was helped to achieve in life by Sure Start that was introduced by the last Labour government. And Angela totally values education and the opportunities that it gives for everyone. And so we've put forward our plans. Firstly, 30 hours per week free childcare for 2 to 4 year olds for the whole country. And that's preschool, nursery places, social interaction, play is something that is so important. Bringing children together, all of them, for those places, and it will be paid for. It will cost 4.8 billion extra to do it. But I see it as absolutely right to do that because it's an investment in the futures of those children and indeed of all of us. Because children that don't get those nursery places, don't get those good preschool facilities, sadly are likely to achieve less when they go on to primary school, less in secondary, and less likely to get to university. I am fed up with a country dominated by the postcode lottery of the wealth of your parents if you're likely to get to university or not. I want it there for all of our children. And in primary schools, I mentioned hungry children find it hard to learn. Children coming to school hungry, many of them helped out by decent, wonderful teachers who dip into their wallets and handbags in order to help the children out. It shouldn't be like that, and it shouldn't ever be like that, and that's why our manifesto quite clearly says we will introduce and pay for a free school meal for every child in every primary school in the country. Those children growing up together, in school together, eating together, is surely a message to them about our world, our society, that you work with each other and you pay for it through taxation, which is fair in that it falls a bigger burden on the richest, a least burden on the poorest. Surely that is basic in social justice in our minds. Probably fund our primary schools, and in the case of this area we're going to stand up against any council that's trying to close down schools, particularly Tory county councils that don't understand the passion people have on schools. Because going on from there, I want our students to go on to college, to go on and do A-levels, to go on and do technical education, to go on and make the best of their lives.